So, a bit of news to report first. Um, Tuesday night, my wife died. So, she put up a good fight. She's been battling this sickness and this disease head on directly since August of 2019. She's been in declining health since 2014, but 2019 is when she had her cardiac arrest. And then in October, she went to the hospital again and came back and ended up being bedridden. And on Tuesday night, she died here in the house very peacefully. She more or less just closed her eyes and went to sleep. And I'm totally tore up. So I know she's in a better place, but it doesn't change anything in regards to how I feel. So that's life, right? And she tolerated the hobby. She loved every one of you guys. And the last thing she'd want me to do would be to not do the show or whatever because she's not here. So I've had a lot of ups and downs in the last 5 days. Sometimes I'm okay and I'm able to function as if everything's the same as it's always been. Sometimes I just totally lose it and just can't stop crying. Sometimes I can talk about it. Sometimes I can't get a word out without tears flowing. So um, I thank you guys for sticking with me all these years and everything, and just wanted to share that with you because a lot of you had always asked about her and were curious how she was. So she's moved on. She's in heaven as far as I'm concerned. I was fortunate enough to be able to contact the Catholic Church. She was raised Catholic, and they sent a minister out in the middle of the night under short notice to perform last rites on her. I was really pleased that the Father came out to do that for my soul and for hers, for whatever you believe. I felt it was very important to be performed on her, and he did it very professionally. And so she's sitting at the Neptune Society. It was her wishes to be cremated, and so we'll follow through with her wishes. I'm not a big fan of cremation, but it's her desires. And so I don't even get to go out to sign the paperwork till next week on that. So don't have to worry about it being one of these things where they end up cremating you while you're still alive. You're definitely under their watchful eye for many days before that process actually takes place. So that's what's going on with me. I've got some new boxes I'm going to open up. Still going to do the show. Still got the room here to do. I've not done much in regards to anything else in this last week, but that's what I've got going on. So Toy Mafia, how you doing, man? First person in the show. Always, I love you. Love you. I think only once did anybody ever beat you out. And there's probably Jake that beat you out that day. How you doing, Jake? Good morning to you. Good afternoon, good evening, Martin. How's it going? Glad to have you. Thank you. Thank you, Jake. Thank you very much. So what I did get this week was Spider-Man Spider Armor Mark IV from the PlayStation game. We're going to be opening that one for sure. The Spider-Man infestation continues. I've got Natasha Romanoff stealth outfit from Captain America Civil War, where she's wearing civilian clothes. We're not going to get to that today, but that's what I got. And I got a big bad toy store box. I don't remember what was in it. Let's open it up, see what's in here. Got a bunch of stuff, bunch of outfits. Bunch of doll outfits for putting on fights and figures. Five girl and SMCA, AC Play, SMCG, bunch of stuff for dolls. Dolls, man, dolls. Chair, doll stuff. Clothes for dolls. Doll clothes. My wife had some figures. It's like a lot of this is doll clothes. The expensive, how do you say it, Chogokin, R2-D2. I'm going to have to get to that. Let me see if I'll get to all my Star Wars stuff. This one is like, practically the entire thing is die cast. Instead of plastic. Yeah, I think even the Hot Toys one is plastic except for the dome. I think it was almost $400. Got the Peter Parker casual clothes kit. More Spider-Man stuff, right? Doll stuff. Both versions of that. Need to buy me some Feist and male dolls. Male dolls. The nun, the demon nun. Bed for dolls. And 1/6 scale pallet jack. It's a lot of really nothing much in here for me. All for me now. It's all for me now. How are you guys doing? Quiet in the chat today, man. Did I scare y'all in the beginning? Martin, let's see, really sorry to hear about your wife. hang in there. Let us know if there's anything you or y'all can do. I will, um, you know, you can prepare for this stuff all you want. You never really can ever be prepared for it. I don't give a damn who you are or how much planning you put into it. I think I probably had the most advanced notice that you could possibly get. You know, when my wife had her cardiac arrest, she died then, and they brought her back to life. And so we've known even from then that death was around the corner, just lurking there, waiting to pounce on her. Um, but you still don't, you're still never ready for them to go, you know? I'm pretty sure she probably was at this point. This last month, she was in such pain that she would just cry out to God, you know, ease the pain. I can't take it anymore. You know, you got to stop this pain. And, you know, we could look at that and say, He answered her prayers. Sunday is when the pain stops. So, uh, that's when you have to feel happy and relieved that she's no longer in pain. A pair of Nike tennis shoes here. I don't see any shoelaces. Got another backpack. And when I was growing up, you wouldn't be caught dead carrying your books in a backpack. You carried every single book that you had, as most comfortable as it was, out and loose under your arms, and you know gave you big strong arms because the last thing you wanted to do was be beat up for carrying a damn backpack. Well, not all the kids carry backpacks. A pair of pants and shirts. I'm about to get a Fison for these guys. Funny though, I would expect to see the final portion of this lace on this shoe. Okay, it's in there. So that's a real string on that. So it's actually laced up and the string is tucked into the shoe. So if you want to pull them out, tie them up, I don't know if there's enough on there to do that, but it definitely requires an entire foot. There's no ball post peg in there for the foot to go into. It's definitely not a seamless foot, and I don't know anything about the Fison guy figures in the first place. I guess it's going to be my next big tackle to investigate the guy Fison figures now. Go from there on that. Got a couple of guy figures to do. Same shoes, appears to be the same backpack. This would be the tan jeans and the light blue shirt that he wore with the coat. Peter Parker from, I think both of these are Far From Home, right? I think that's what those outfits are. CBS Sci-Fi, how you doing, man? Uh, yep, my wife finally moved on. She's in heaven, looking down on us right now. I love you, baby. Miss you. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing all of your condolences. I believe every one of them are heartfelt. I don't think any one of you have any ill will at all for my wife or what I'm going through right now. It's tough, man. It is tough. No doubt about it. If you've never dealt with death directly, and I mean straight up, 100% in your face, it's no joke. Um, I had the good fortune, I guess you could say, to being there directly the moment she passed on when with her cardiac arrest in August in 19, 18 months ago, and I was right there when she passed away this last time, and she had a do not resuscitate order. The She had filled out an advance directive in 2016 stating that she didn't want to be revived should she ever be in that position, and to some point she was a little upset that she was revived after her cardiac arrest in 2019. I didn't know exactly that's what her wishes were. And on top of that, when it had happened back then, I was in no condition to tell anybody anything. So the hospital checked her in as a Jane Doe. I mean, I totally just lost my shit. They couldn't get a name off of me. I was just crying and breaking down in the whole 9 yards. And she made sure that I knew for fact, and that everybody knew. Every medical professional that she came across, everybody. And she had DNRs in every office. She wanted them to know for fact she didn't want to have to go through any more of the healing process that happens to you after a resuscitation. And, when you're a young person, you heal quite quickly, but the older you get, the harder it is to heal. And she was done with any of that. And so needless to say, when she closed her eyes and died right in front of me, took her last breath, and I called 911 and they sent the paramedics out. I couldn't find a single one of those damn DNRs anywhere. And fortunately, I was able to find the advanced directive that she'd signed in 2016, notarized and witnessed, 100% legal document. And they were very willing to accept that as her wishes. Even though when they got there, she had already expired, she'd already moved on. Took them like 5 minutes to show up. You know how that is. They put the leads on her, and there was no electrical activity, no breathing, no heartbeat, there was nothing going on anywhere to indicate any life whatsoever to them. They said if I couldn't produce the do not resuscitate order or the advanced healthcare directive, they would be absolutely required to take her to the hospital, and they would then begin resuscitation on her. They would actually begin it right there at the house and take her to the hospital. And she did not want that whatsoever. So thank goodness I was able to find that, and they accepted it because it was a legal document signed, notarized, and witnessed. So they said, okay, what are your wishes for her? And I said, well, she wanted to be cremated through the Neptune Society. And they said, well, if that's the case, then we also don't have to call the coroner. You can just contact the Neptune Society. They'll come out and take care of the body in that manner, instead of the county being involved and them doing what they do. And again, I've never been in this scenario. I've never had to deal with anything like this specifically, let alone directly. But I guess the coroner makes it real messy, I guess. I guess they have to perform an autopsy and everything. I really don't know. I don't have any idea. So, in all actuality, she went, in my opinion, the best way that you could possibly go. If you wanted to go, if you were to ever have if you ever had the opportunity, let's say, for instance, somebody gave you a menu and said, choose how you want to exit this world. I can't imagine any better than to say, in my bed, in my own home, close my eyes and just not wake up again. I can't imagine it being any other way that I would want to have the option of going. Of all the possible ways you can think of going, some of them might be, some thrill seekers may think of a different way, or something like that. Or I certainly wouldn't want a tragic, long time going way. And maybe you could say that she did in the years that she's been suffering or in declining health. Maybe it was a long time if you look at it that way. But she just closed her eyes and went to sleep, more or less. I can't imagine a better way to go, in my mind. as far as that goes. So this armor is very close to what they had in the comics. Also, he's had many different armors in the comics, and I'm really happy to see that they're continuing on in manufacturing of the Spider-Man armors, suits. I mean, I want them all. I really do. I'm a huge Spider-Man nut in the first place, way before Iron Man became anything in my life. He really didn't become anything until the Hot Toys figures and the movies. So keep cranking out the Spider-Man suits, man. I'm telling you. Let's see who are the names here. Venom Snake is the painting controller. Not much else going on here. Just looking at it, it reminds me of one of the other many suit materials that we've seen recently, possibly the Iron Spider from the MCU suit material. Just looking at it from outside the box before getting him from inside the box to outside of the box. So you guys just love on me, man. That's all I need. I'm gonna keep doing the shows. I really don't know what to do, actually. They tell me that most of these... Man, this smells like straight up spray paint. So this cardboard piece still smell the spray paint, like as if it is spray painted it. Whole inside of the box smells like straight up spray paint. Interesting. Don't remember smelling that before. I swear to God, the inside of the box smells like straight up spray paint. Different ways you can tell, new figures, right? Okay, so I guess this is the luminescent one, because we have the luminescent arms similar to what we have with Black Panther. There he is in the packaging. There's the luminescent arms there. Let's go ahead and get those out of the way first. Man, the smell of a new Hot Toys figure. Of course, these are cardboard. And there's your lights on it that will shine the black light onto it. So it looks very much like the Black Panther version in style. I don't remember if those were cardboard that they made on that one. Maybe they were, I don't remember. But he's up there in the corner. I don't know if you can see him or not, but he's part of the remote that turns on all the LEDs in the room, and he glows. He sure as fact glows. It says Silver Sable or something right there. I don't know what that means. I don't remember that business in the Spider-Man universe. So it's styrofoam, actually, is what this is. Cardboard wrapped styrofoam. That's what this little piece is. On a real thin plastic base here, that this will plug into the hexagonal base here. And I don't see a left and right on this. And I don't think the luminescent on it as much. I think it's just right on his chest around his spider emblem and the eyes. Oh no, I think also the entire body has like this glow on it, kind of like the Black Panther. If I remember correctly, I always say I should do some more research on these before opening these up, and I never do. I go into them blind, man. As blind as a bat. Each one is just a thrill to me. TV Digs 4243, is that what these are? Yeah, here's the 42 and the 43A. One of these comes with the head. I remember either the A is with the head or the A is without the head. I don't remember. And I got the one with the head because I wanted it came with the red head, and I've always been looking for a nice looking Mary Jane head. I want to have a good traditional Earth 616 Mary Jane figure. I'm a little stuffy, but I can still smell the brand new Hot Toys figures. Gotta love that Hot Toys smell. So here we have the webs that have been coming of late over the last couple of years. Same web style as we have been receiving, including to what I call the Todd McFarlane web. So the same ones that we've been getting. This feels as though it's differently manufactured. I don't remember it feeling so flimsy. Maybe they always have been, and just today it's felt otherwise. But I've always thought they were a little more rigid. It doesn't really matter if it's flimsier or not, in my opinion, truthfully. It's a decoration, more or less. But it felt a little flimsy for some reason. And so this is from the PlayStation, so we have these little guys. I think I've got one of these with several of the Spider-Man that came from the PlayStation line. So another one of these. Appears to be identical to the others. The little arms, his little legs or whatever, can be positioned. They're rotated to assimilate movement or preparation for movement. Some of these little pieces I don't know what to do with. They just go in the drawer, with multiples of the same one. But if this is the only Spider-Man you happen to buy, then it would be your only one, right? So I don't know what I think about that, because truthfully, I don't think this is like somebody's only Spider-Man. Unless, you got your current Lobster Claw. Unless, you're in a situation where you can only afford one Spider-Man and you want to get a brand new Spider-Man, and this happens to be the Spider-Man that you order to represent your Spider-Man in the Spider-Man universe, or maybe you truthfully do love this Mark IV Spider Armor, Spider-Man, and this is what you want. Then you would be happy to receive that. But for the most part, it's just like, okay, another one of these, and I really don't know what to do with in the first place with any of the others that I've received. But I suppose if they didn't send it, I'd be like, where the hell is the damn spider drone? You can't make a little spider drone or whatever it's supposed to be. I never took the opportunity to play the game. I watched a lot of videos in regards to people playing the PlayStation video game that this figure's from, but I never bought the game. I even tried to talk my wife into wanting to play it because she was born and raised in that part of the world, New York City area. She was born in Brooklyn, and so you know, it would have been nice to more or less walk the city again, if you will. She didn't have any interest in it, really, so I didn't press it. I don't have the time. I'm doing so many other things that I personally don't really have the time to play that. I can make the time, I guess. Um, Her and I never watched any more of the WandaVision episodes. We got through, I think, episode 5. So since then, I've watched episode 6, I think. The one I just stopped watch. The one I just finished watching was uh, the one where the captain gets back in and gains her powers. Oh God, what's her name? I guess there's 9 episodes, and I guess they're done with it now, as of last week, or was it this Saturday? When did they actually stop making it? So his eyes are kind of green, so it's going to probably be one of the items that light up in this. The suit and the helmet are 2 different materials, totally 2 different materials. The color looks well enough, but it's not an exact same color. Looking at it, I mean, I can see for a fact that there's a color difference on it. Don't know what I think about that spider emblem on the back. Looks like it might just fall clean off of there. Um, the suit's very pretty. It looks like a classic suit, only metallic. It's really a good looking suit. Very much so in the design and color of the Earth 616 classic Spider-Man, right? Only metallic-ish. It's supposed to be spider armor, so I would assume that would be why the metallicness of it. So I got notification that the movie theaters in my area are opening back up with restrictions. So I suppose then that Black Widow will actually hit the theaters. Isn't that supposed to come out in May? Really looking forward to that movie. For a fact, I'm looking forward to a lot of answers being given. Now, mind you, one thing I told you that I'm never going to do anymore is dynamic poses on these suits. Um, but he's 100% articulated and did a really good job on the shoe there. You can't even see where the seam is, okay, until you actually angle the toe up, then you can see where actually the toe has a seam in it. Other than that, the way it's designed, it's seamless there. Good job on that. Real good job. That's really impressive. With it down, you can't even tell that there's a seam there. Really? I mean, I can now because I've seen it, but just looking at it, glancing at it, didn't even see it. Um, so there is articulation. It's not the best articulation, but it's one seamless body piece here, from toe to neck. It's all one piece of suit. They did not too bad job on the stitching on the side here, which is where the suit got put together, how the figure went into it. And so they have to sew this up here. And I don't know whether it's hand sewn or not, to tell you the truth. Obviously, the rest of the suit would be machine sewn, but I'm quite probably under the impression that after they put the figure, the body actually in the suit, this has to be hand stitched at this point. So we have the ratcheted elbows, which there's going to be some limitation on poses because of that. Can't necessarily get the arms all the way down to the side. So there's always going to be that. Just turn him a little bit to get his arms down a little more. Bring his elbows up. But you're going to want to be careful with these suits. For real, you really don't want to put him in anything other than just a regular museum style pose for any length of time, because the suits do not like to be stretched or pulled or crinkled together. So, in collecting these, you're going to have to keep that in mind. Grab your pictures of them, pose them for your photos, for your videos, or whatever it is you're doing. Enjoy your toys. They still are toys. Enjoy your toys, but note, in order to preserve them, you're going to want to keep them in, this museum style, wax museum style pose of him just standing there. You're really not going to want to leave him in any type of a dynamic action pose. You get a total of 6 eyes, 3 different poses: the wide open, the narrow, and then the slit. And I've seen more wide, and I've seen more slit. I've seen many different other variations on these. So there's some figures come with a lot. This just comes with some basic ones. And then they included it into a pre-packaged portion of the shell here, so there's no little container to store them in. You have to take them out of this if you're not storing them in the box. And I used to store all the extra pieces into the boxes, but then as my box collection grew, it just became ridiculous to do that. So now I take all the pieces out, file them into these little drawers here to be able to get to them. Because these boxes are stacked, boxes on top of boxes, behind and in front of boxes. I couldn't necessarily find the boxes that I needed to find in order to get to the figures. So now I put them in here. Let's see, where would the Spider Armor Mark IV end up? Right down here in the bottom. Take the Stan Lee, shift him over into the next box. Get an empty here for Spider-Man Mark IV PlayStation. Start putting these guys in that. Okay, so we get a pair of the I Love You Thwip hands. We get a pair of the Spider-Man press hands, where his little fingertips push up as he's pushing against something to hold himself. I'm not seeing any other figure come with those type of hands. You know, quite surprised when I see a Spider-Man without these hands. I'm just so used to seeing them. He's got his relaxed grasping style hands here. He has two of the hands for holding his webbing, and these are the tighter hole ones. We talked about this last week on how they'd made the holes larger to accept the webbing easier. So these you're going to want to widen before trying to shove the webbing into them. Be very careful when putting the webbing into these hands, because you will break the webbing. It tells you that in the instruction manual, and then they tell you to pull it through, and I've pulled it through and broke it, and I've pushed it through and broke it. So the real answer is to make sure that that hole's large enough that can go through without much effort at all. You want it snug, but not difficult. And then we have two straight up fists without any holes in them whatsoever. So a regular complement of accessories here. And then two red wrist pegs. And always my advice on the wrist pegs are, if you're changing the hands out, if the peg stays in the hand, leave the peg in the hand. Just use another peg to go up into the wrist here. You're not going to want to fight with that. It'll never fit properly ever again. So just let it be where it wants to stay and just work around that. So it's interesting here, they have on this base, they have two ports on each side, so you could essentially put these black light stands either in front of him, which would be here, or behind him, or you can put four of them on there. They give you two. It looks like you can plug in a total of four. There's a battery compartment on the bottom, so you can put, I imagine, AAA batteries in there. Or you could use the included cord with a USB plug on it to plug into the back to power it in that manner. And then we get the articulated action figure pose stand. I'm not a fan of these really. For my Spider-Man guys, after learning that I can't pose them into an action pose, I'm not a fan of the crotch grabbers either. I think what I would rather have, truthfully, would be the crotch grabber wire, but with the waist attachment. It just holds them essentially there by their waist. I think that's probably, in my opinion, the best option for posing these figures, to tell you the truth. But if you've got any of the pieces that fit into the figure stand like this, with the crotch grabbers or whatever, you can use them instead of having to use that. I really want to light this up. I'm not prepared to though. I suppose I'll get some batteries and unscrew the bottom of it and just go that route. But he'll be plugged in with this cord, I believe. And it goes into the display cabinet. That's the plan. Let's read the instruction manual. These addendums are always interesting. It's like they give this to somebody's kid and say, here, play this with over on the weekend and tell us what happens to it. And then they realize that, well, we need to put a little addendum to it because we found out that such and such happens. And what is this addendum? This product is not a toy, collectible use only. Do not store or display the product outdoors. Adult assembly. Do not mix old new batteries. Do not charge non-rechargeable batteries. Rechargeable batteries are to be removed from the product before being recharged. Tell me this comes with chargeable batteries. Be interesting. Make sure the batteries incorrectly. Don't look at the LED lights. Never short circuit the battery terminals. DC to USB power adapter is not included. This product uses a DC 5 volt 2 amp power adapter. 4.5 volts is what the LEDs run on. So they're overdriving with the AC power of 5 volt 2 amp. That's fine. Make sure the cable connects correctly. Product will not be repaired the product will not be repaired if it has been tampered with, altered, modified, or reworked. So I suppose one of these Hot Toys modifiers has tried to take theirs back to Hot Toys and say, hey, I broke this, send me another one. Regularly check USB power cable, plug housing, and components for damage. Do not overplug your plugs. Don't put more plugs in than what is recommended. Do not put the USB cable into socket outlets. The product liable to be cleaned with liquid is to be disconnected from transformer before cleaning. Don't mix liquid with electricity. When cleaning, wipe with a damp cloth first and dry with a clean soft cloth. Do not rub or wipe the product with thinner, benzene, alcohol, or any corrosive materials which could damage the product. Do not expose the product in high temperatures and humidity, as these extremes can cause a loss of structural integrity. Do not get the product in touch with sharp objects or nails to avoid material damage. The product is not intended for children under 3 years old, and the transformer is not a toy. So this is very important, evidently, in their opinion, to include this as an afterthought. So the first thing they show is how to interchange the eyes. Just press the eyes and they pop out, and then you can just put the new ones in. And then it shows the degrees that you can move the arms. Remember, it's ratcheted. And we're not going to move our arms. We're just not going to do it. It's going to damage the suit. It's not worth it. And here again, the articulation of the feet and legs and how to take the hands off of the arms. And they showed you to pull it through, not push it through. And I'm telling you that the hole's not big enough to do either. So make sure you can widen that hole somehow with a metal pick, maybe a little file, anything to make that hole a little bit bigger. And here we see the little spider drone with the pincher movements like we showed earlier, and the 3 AAA batteries. Yep, 3 AAA batteries you put in there instead of plugging it into a USB if you want to battery power it. And here they show the proper installation of the luminescent LED arms, how they go into the base and plug in, and how to stow the extra cable. Here they say, don't let the figure get in touch with sharp objects, fire, or heat, and do not rub the figure with thinner, benzene, alcohol, or any corrosive material. And here they're showing you the effect that you'll get with the luminescent lights. And they're again talking about what not to do to your figure. So let's go get some AAA batteries. I don't think I have any in here. And I'm not going to be keeping the AAAs in there. However, I do buy the AAAs that you can do that with. Lithium ions, they don't rot out. They don't acid doesn't leak out of them and destroy your figures. They're very expensive compared to regular alkaline batteries. And so I do use them when doing things. I think my Hulkbuster 2 still has his lithium ion AAA or AA batteries or whatever they are in him. There's no need to take them out. They're not going to destroy the figure. So let's go get some AAA batteries and light this guy up. I don't know why I closed that up without putting this in here. I'll be right back. My wife always enjoyed hearing about the show. She's watched several of them. So it's going to be interesting not having anyone to talk to about after the show. So this is the brand of lithium batteries that I buy. Energizer lithiums. Compared to alkaline acid batteries. Little Phillips head screwdriver. C'est bon, Mason! What's going on with you, man? No villains today to open up. Got a lot of villains to open up. I don't be opening one up today. Just doing a short little video here. Kind of not in the mood to do a video today, truthfully. I almost wanted to dip on you guys, just sleep. But the show must go on, right? So I swear I'm twisting this and it feels like it's unscrewed. But then when I pry on it, it feels like it's still screwed in. So I'm now prying and twisting. And it does come out with it, just a little, one little it'll be twist to get it the rest of the way out. And the 3 little AAA batteries will go right in there. Which makes it 4.5 volts. Each one uses 1.5 volts. So it's 4.5 volts, and they're using a 5-volt AC power supply. So of course it's going to be brighter. The AC will be than this. But it's nice that they gave you the option, being able to use batteries instead. And quite possibly, even if you have your chargeables, you might be able to use them in here. Don't know exactly if the USBs would also charge the batteries that are in here. So we're going to plug them into the front ones here. Here's the name plate. So we're going to plug them into these 2 front ones here. And there's an up and a down. So it only goes in one way. Don't force it. It should go in pretty easily. If you're having to force it, you're putting it in the wrong way. It should go in very easily. I'm having a time with this one. They should have just made the cables just a teensy weensy little bit longer. Just a little bit longer would have been better. Matches up pretty nicely. All the colors do of the base there. So there's on 1 on the left, and off, and on 2 on the right. I'm assuming on 2 is AC power because nothing happens when I flip it to on 2. When I flip it to on 1, the lights come on. So you can see that. And on 2 does nothing. So I imagine that must be the power. So let's kill the lights on this. And light him up. Come on, Spidey, cooperate here. Don't give me any grief, man. Look at that. What do you think? Is that pretty cool or what? Now, I can't necessarily see the effect specifically, but it's definitely all the way up over the helmet and everything. I'm going to turn him around so I can see him. Give you my opinion of looking at him live. Wow. Jeez. The helmet is really spotted up in a good way, I guess I could say. The hands are spotted, even the little feet. Let's see about the bottoms of the feet. If they did the bottoms of the feet too, that'd be insane. No, the bottoms of the feet are not, but everything all the way down to the little toes has this paint applied to it. The eyes and the spider have the green. Other than that, everything's glowing in this blue color. Everything has these blue dots. It's really quite amazing. It's wow, it's surreal. Wow, I'm really really quite impressed. That looks wow. Wow, wow, wow. Really, that's all I can say is wow. Um, he's blue, so the color of him is blue. That's glowing back on the screen. It appears green to me when I'm looking at uh, on the camera there. So I don't know what's coming across to you guys, if it's coming across green or not, but it is for fact blue, except for the eyes and the chest piece. Those are green. And there you can see all the way down to the toes is illuminated up. It's quite an effect for fact. It's really, really bright, and the head specifically is really reflecting back very nicely. So as you can see how bright it is on there, it really is that bright. That's no joke, but it's not the green color that you see. It's blue. It really is blue, except for, like I said, the spider and the eyes. Those are green. Other than that, it's blue. That's really amazing. I am just quite caught off guard to that at all. I didn't expect that at all. That's quite amazing. Um, we'll turn some lights on and see how much he bleeds out from this. So it's just overhead lights, or backlights. That's off. and that's on. So I think that's probably a little better under impression of the blue that you get without all the other lights on. It really reflects back the blue better, I believe, from what I'm looking at on the screen there. I have a feeling though, as soon as I kick on these white lights, he's just going to wash totally out. I'm going to turn them on to see if there's going to be a difference. So here's the first one. You can still see some of the blue. And I'm going to kick on the bright lights I have around the camera. And I have a feeling those will totally just wash it out. So I'm going to turn them on and off there. See if you can see any difference. That's off. And that's on. And I don't expect to be able to know any difference with these bright white lights on. And no, I don't see any difference at all. It just really washes it right out. The further away he is from the lights, the better the effect. So, I would say, if you're going to put him in a Detolf, you wouldn't need to light his chamber, his shelf of where he's going to be. I don't think you would need to light him, because as long as you don't have the direct light on it and you only have lights in the room, you should be able to get a nice enough effect of it as far as that goes. So I'm impressed with the color. I don't know how long that will stay on there, if it'll ever fade off, if in 10 years you won't even be able to see it reflecting back anymore. I don't have any idea. There's no telling, truthfully. But it sure is neat now. Sure is neat. Definitely. Definitely. And I'm going to cut this short because I'm just going to go right back to sleep. I'm suffering from depression, no doubt about it. And sleeping seems to be a good way to deal with what's going on and not have to face it directly. So that's my plan for today. Let's just try to get some sleep. But thanks for stopping in, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends where they can go to see these figures. I'm pretty attainable. I answer pretty much any questions you guys ask. And I'll show you any of these figures that I have. It's your show. You guys determine what we do in the show. I have a Patreon if you want to support the channel. Throw a buck my way if you feel so inclined, or if you have $1 to share with me. www.patreon.com/Siri Emerald, SIRIEMERALD, one word. And I've got nothing to give you, just my eternal gratitude. And so thank you, Patreons who are contributors. It means so much to me to know that you're willing to tip me for the time that I spend and share with you. Thank you very much for that. I have a Facebook and a Twitter and an Instagram. I don't even pay attention to those anymore. I couldn't even tell you when the last time was I opened up a Facebook. It's just become so toxic that it's not even worth it to me anymore. The positive that comes out of Facebook doesn't outweigh, in my opinion, the negative that comes out of those. So I'm just through with all that social networking, media sharing. It's a mess. It's absolutely a mess. I enjoy sharing my figures with you guys, talking with you guys, sharing with you guys, hearing your opinions and whatnot. Can someone tell me whether Scarlet Vision ended this Saturday, last week? Because if it did, yesterday or whatever, if it ended this week, then next week we can full on talk about it. Talk about everything. I have not seen them all. If it's not ending until next week, I want to give it a week for you guys who haven't subscribed to Disney to watch WandaVision, to catch up with what's going on because it's directly affecting the MCU movies. WandaVision will be. Falcon and Winter Soldier started, I guess, this week also. So, it's a good time to consider binging, subscribing, and watching. I don't know how many episodes Falcon and Winter Soldier are. Scarlet Witch was 9. So, if you only get a 10-day or a 30-day free trial, you're not going to be able to watch Scarlet and Captain America, Falcon and Winter Soldier because it's going to be going into the next month. So you might want to consider where you stand on that. But the good thing is you'll be able to get the Mandalorian if you haven't gotten it, so you can binge watch the Mandalorian, binge watch Scarlet Vision, and really catch up on those shows so we can talk about those shows. Mandalorian is off the table. We could totally talk about Mandalorian if you want. It's a long time been done for the 2 seasons that they've run. We can talk about that all day long. No problem about that because if you've not seen Mandalorian yet, you know that there's going to be some spoilers when we talk about it. It's a really good show. Really enjoyed The Mandalorian. If you're a Star Wars fan at all, you should be watching The Mandalorian for fact. Let's see if I missed any chat here. Thank you for the blessings. Thank you, Jake. I agree. It does look great. Next to the fire stand Spider-Man. Oh, yeah. You talking about this one? Sitting next to the Molten Man? Yeah, I agree. It's going to look good. No doubt about that. Got the batteries in this still. Because, again, we put the lithium ions in here, so they're not going to rot anything out. So you can leave these in here. I don't see an AC plug in here, but you might be able to find a plug that can be used for to replace these, go inside this door for this. But yeah, definitely if you were to put these on the same shelf, I don't know how much room there is. I like Save All Mason's idea of hanging this on a wall, displaying it in that manner. That's a pretty good idea of doing it. It'll look good that way as well. Either that way or flat. Either one of those I can see being a good way of doing it, truthfully. But yeah, that would look good. Putting them on a deck off shelf that's made sure no other light gets to it, just ambient room light, and kick on the lights on those figures. For fact. For fact. Yeah, it's funny. I don't want to eat anymore. I'm not hungry or thirsty. I'm straight up suffering from depression, 100%. So, um, some of you guys that you're depressed because your favorite actress didn't get chosen for the scene that you wanted her to get. You know what? I don't even want to hear about your depression. I don't need to sound callous, but I have a genuine reason to be depressed, guys, for fact. So I really have little sympathy for some of these emo people out there that are depressed because they didn't get their Dr. Pepper today. I don't see it, man. I'm sorry. Get over your Dr. Pepper. But I genuinely have a reason to be depressed, and I am. I'm suffering from depression, no doubt about it. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the condolences. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. She loved you. When she had her cardiac arrest, she was so pleased that you guys were here for me. And so I'm sure she went to sleep with that same comfort. So thank you very much. WandaVision ended 2 weeks ago. We are welcome to talk about it. Go ahead and share. My question is this: since it ended 2 weeks ago, I've not gotten all the way. So if you want to, if you want to talk spoilers, you're welcome to. Is the Pietro that they have starting with the The reveal of him was at the end of episode 4 or 5, and then he was in the episode with the spectacular. Is he the one that was in the X-Men movies? Is that the same actor? I'm trying to figure out. I'm looking at him and trying to figure out if that's the same actor or not. It's obviously not the actor that played Quicksilver in the MCU. Is that the actor that played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies? Is my question. Can any of you answer that? Does anybody know if that's who that is? Because I thought that was pretty clever, um, him being in there. And if it happened to have been the same actor, that would even be better. Is that who that was? Can anybody answer me that? I don't know for fact. Um, it is him. All right, good. That's cool. If that since that is the case, I thought that was really cool. A cool choice of doing that. The marriage of the Fox X-Men with MCU, um, the MCU, since Disney now owns both. That's really cool. Now, my question is, and I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, is he going to be in any more of the episodes other than just the one? You know, I I, I would like to see him in more, and even in the movies integrated in, because if you remember in the X-Men, he was the son of Magneto, right? And in the MCU, and he's not related to Scarlet Witch. In the MCU, he's related to Scarlet Witch and not a child of Magneto. So I don't know how they're going to explain that, or if they're even going to try to explain that, or if they're just going to pretend that the X Men universe didn't really exist, kind of, and just kind of. I don't know what they're planning on doing, but I would like some type of integration there with the X Men and the Avengers and all of that, and one giant universe now controlled by Disney. I would really like to see that. So that's my real question on that. It's WandaVision has been really good. I've really enjoyed that. One of the episodes, I think it was episode 3, don't remember. Could have been episode 2. Was like the worst. But there's always that one episode that just has a lot of dialogue, a lot of story, a lot of background that is need to know, but not much excitement going on. And that's the only one I ever had a problem with. Same thing happened to Mandalorian. I don't remember which episode it was, but it was the one where they're on the planet with the little blue crayfish that the people were harvesting. It was just a tough episode to get through, but it had a lot of story that was required to be told, a lot of background, a lot of interesting story that had to be part of the Mandalorian in order to get the entire picture. So you have those catch-up stories. They don't like to have them right in the very beginning. You certainly don't want your first movie or first story to be so much information that you lose your audience. You want to get to the action, get to the point, introduction to the characters, and put them into some situation that's going to make you want to come back next week, a cliffhanger, to come back next year, or however long it's going to be for the next installment of that. But you don't want it to be so much story, so much backstory that you lose your audience, which was a big problem with the original series pilot, Star Trek, the original series pilot, The Cage. It was so much backstory, so much technical jargon, and so much story they had to try to get you accustomed to where they were in space, that it's just a difficult episode to get through. And they should have just had a lot more action going on in the story, and so that's why the Cage was such a difficult sell in the first place for the original series Star Trek. It's just a difficult episode, and they normally save those to a little bit into the storyline, because you're already hooked on the action. You're already hooked. Have fallen in love with the characters. You already have a pretty good idea what's going on, and now we're going to tell you all the boring stuff. Um, uh, Even George Lucas said he started with, literally, he knew it was episode 4, only it wasn't called A New Hope. Back then it was just called Star Wars. But he knew that there was 3 previous stories that weren't told yet. And he said he didn't tell them just because they're boring stories. He literally said that they weren't very interesting. And so when he did visit them, and we all found out they weren't really good at all, there was a little bit of a backlash. But then they went ahead and destroyed the whole Star Wars storyline with episodes 7, 8, and 9. So 1, 2, and 3 are a hell of a lot better than 7, 8, and 9, in my opinion. So that's an interesting tale there, because 7, 8, and 9 should have been the culmination of this amazing story, and they just turned it into a bunch of crap. It's almost like as if they felt they had to retell the story again. It's like, why? The story's been told and retold. Just now move on with something really fun and interesting. No, they didn't. They decided to do some baloney stuff. It was just ridiculous. 7, 8, 9 was ridiculous. There was, what was it? I heard somebody said something about how do you screw up being handed the golden egg laying goose? You know, they literally stopped the goose from laying golden eggs. How in the world can you screw something up that bad? And that's what's nice about the Mandalorian, because it's back to the way it should have been. It's written the way it should have been. The characters and the storyline are treated with respect, and it's a much better way of them doing the shows. So there's a right way and a wrong way. And they truthfully did 7, 8, 9 in the absolute most wrong way of doing anything. And the Mandalorian's being done in the right way. And I went into the Mandalorian with skepticism. I literally went into the Mandalorian thinking, oh God, this is going to be just like 7, 8, and 9. And I watched the first episode, and it was so filmed so dimly lit that my wife had difficulty seeing it. So I wasn't interested in watching it anymore because she couldn't enjoy it. And I ended up sucking it up one day and watched it with her, the first one, and she enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and then we just totally fell in love with it. And so it's filmed properly. But I went in there even with the skeptical eye, so I wasn't a fanboy thinking, "Oh, this is going to be great." No, I was in there thinking, "Oh God, this is going to be terrible." 7, 8, and 9 were horrible. Rogue One was great in my opinion, but 7, 8, and 9 were just a disaster. So that's my opinion on all of that. Uh, let's see. Thank you guys. Thank you for your condolences. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Let's see. People kind of forgot that WandaVision is Marvel's version of a sitcom. It will have action, but that's not the point. Yeah, and I'm not in there looking for action. I really enjoy WandaVision. It's a really interesting story. It's a dramatic story. Um, and it's a story that's setting up the Marvel universe for what's to come. Evidently, what's happening in WandaVision is paramount to the movies, this next grouping of movies that are coming out in regards to things. Um, so this happens, I guess, um, right before the end of Endgame, I guess. I don't know where this actually happens in relationship to that. If it happens right before Endgame or if it happens after Endgame, I don't know on that. But it's definitely in the time frame of Endgame, because it's after the 5 year period of when everyone was gone and they've been returned. The snap has happened. So I don't know where it is. And of course, I remember in Endgame, one of my favorite scenes was when Wanda confronted Thanos. And remember, this is 2012 Thanos that she's confronting. I think that's where he's from. It's 2012. So he's not at 2023 or 2025. I forget what year Endgame's supposed to take place. And, Wanda's just absolutely furious because she blames Thanos for the death of her brother Pietro. She blames Thanos for the death of her family. She blames Thanos for the death of Vision, and here she is looking at him, just totally and furiously enraged, and just says, "You have killed everyone I've ever loved." And Thanos just so very matter of factly, in his way, just looks at her and says, "I don't even know who you are." And oh, that just infuriates her even more, because in his viewpoint, none of this had even happened yet. So, of course, he would have no idea who she was. And even if it had happened, I don't think he would even care who she was, because he was literally destroying one half of life in the entire universe, not just on Earth, but on every habited planet. He destroyed half life of everywhere, everything and everybody. Destroyed half. He didn't care who you were. It was just he was the Mad Titan. He was just doing what he thought was the right way of correcting things, and it's just so furious. She comes there with this huge grudge on her shoulder. You have destroyed, you've killed everyone that I've ever loved, or something to that effect is what she says. And he just, I don't even know who you are. And that just really, just caused her to unleash her absolute most devastating power. She was literally disintegrating that man. She was tearing him apart molecularly. And what a powerful scene. So I don't know exactly where this happens in relation to the Endgame movie, but it's along that time frame that this takes place. It tells you it's a few weeks after Endgame. Thank you, Save on Mason. Thank you. So she's gone in there and has brought Vision back to life, more or less. So because Vision requires an Infinity Stone to be brought to life, and they remind you in the WandaVision that Wanda kills Vision to keep Thanos from getting him, and then Thanos just reverses time, brings him back to life, and then kills him again to get the stone out of his head. And I don't remember if it's the Soul Stone or the Mind Stone. I don't know which one it is. I think it's the Mind Stone, isn't it? I don't remember which one's in his forehead. But, jeez, she got to watch Vision die twice. Once by her hand to try to save the universe, and then once by Thanos' hand. So, yeah, no wonder Scarlet Witch is in such a emotional mess at this point, in the WandaVision movies, television series. It's really interesting. So check it out, watch it. It's no Avengers movie in that regards. It's comedic, it's interesting, it's drama, it's a story that is necessary for the advancement of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, I haven't seen Bucky and Sam, so I don't know how the Winter Soldier and the Falcon television series is. I would imagine it's probably a little more action. I don't know. I've not seen it yet. Have any of you seen it? Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much. Thank you for your condolences. I don't know if any of you have seen it yet. Is it more action packed? I would assume it is. And if you remember, of course, at the end of Endgame, old soldier Cap hands his shield to Sam to carry on the mantle of the Captain America responsibility, if you will. And so he becomes more or less Captain America. I think in the comics, the Winter Soldier also at one point becomes Captain America. So I'm really looking forward to watching those as well. My wife enjoyed the movies. She went with me to all of them. She wasn't a big fan of them. She did like Deadpool. She thought he was funny, and she enjoyed his form of justice. She really enjoyed Deadpool exacting his way of dealing with the bad guys. She really liked Deadpool. So it'd be interesting to see how he lands in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because obviously he's part of the assets that are all part of the big Disney umbrella with that. So that'd be nice to see. So you're talking about Winter Soldier then? A good show, action right from the start? Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Thank you, Toy Mafia. Thanks for the love, guys. Um, so I'm not going to go 2 hours on this unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about. If you want to talk about Mandalorian, you want to talk about Scarlet, WandaVision, if you want to no spoiler talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier. That'd be nice. Anything else going on? Was there? What's we got? The Batman and Robin. I mean, Batman and Superman figures were announced, right? Zack Snyder figures of those were announced by Hot Toys. The Nightmare Batman, the Black Suit Superman. Are those re-releases? Because they look similar to ones that they had before. Are those re-releases or are those new versions of those two figures? Does anybody know? I'm getting my custom Red Death sculpt back Monday. Nice. It looks good. So that's a DC guy, right? He's kind of like the Red Skull, only the DC version of him. Is that right? Is that who I'm thinking of? The Red Death. Superman is new. They never dropped that. That's good to know. It looks really sharp. If you're looking for an alternate Superman, if you want to, or if you do like the black suit Superman, he looks nice. If you're a Superman collector, I mean, boy, these are the times to be getting them. That and Batman. There's just a lot of great looking figures out there. Um, he's a mix between Batman and the Flash. The Red Skull is okay. I mean the Red Death. Okay, cool, cool. And I grew up on the DC universe. I grew up on Spider-Man. I mean Superman and Batman. So I love the DC universe. It's just that when I discovered Spider-Man, that was pretty much I just jumped ships and went straight into the Marvel lineup at that point. And I have full, straight up respect for Superman and Batman because I knew their story inside and out as reading them as a little kid. Um, so I have full respect for them. Just don't have the space and the money to collect them currently in that regards. So, you know, uh, there's only so much money you can spend on your figures, and you can't get every franchise, no matter how much you try. That's why some of you guys collect pieces just from each one. You'll get one Spider-Man and one Batman and one Superman and one Iron Man, and I can respect that, and that's why I'll say, in this case, for instance, this probably wouldn't be your one Spider-Man if you're doing that, unless you want a really cool one, and he's really cool. No doubt about that. He is a cool looking Spider-Man, and I don't know if you could see that the lights are on right now, but he's a cool looking Spider-Man. And he kind of looks like the classic suit Spider-Man, only metallic. So if that's what you're looking at, if you haven't bought a Spider-Man yet, he's probably not sold out. You'll probably find him else places. There is a classic suit Spider-Man coming out, but it's not going to be illuminated like this. So if you want a cool one in the classic suit style, this is him. Well, I swear to God, I thought I just heard my wife call me. That's probably the worst right now is my mind playing tricks on me. Because I want her to call me. So that's the ghosts that you'll hear people talk about. I know she's gone. She's not a ghost in here haunting the house. Maybe she is. I don't know. We never really know how it really works. Nobody really has a definitive answer of what happens to us after we move on. You know, some people believe that for 3 days your spirit is still here on Earth. So, from my understanding, for the most part, funeral homes and whatnot won't do anything to a body for 3 days. For that very reason, that you can come sit straight up out of the grave during that time frame. Um, so, it's been more than 3 days. So, if that's the case, she'd have moved on. But I've heard the ghosts. I've heard her call my name, and I'm sure it's just, you know, in my mind. But that's what's hard. Or when I walk into the part of the house where she's supposed to be and she's not there, those are ghosts. Those are ghosts that you can refer to. It's not a haunting under any circumstance, but it's images and audio, uh, audible uh, incarnations that manifest themselves to me, but they're not really there. So I expect to see her sitting there, or I expect to hear her call me. That always hurts the worst. So I swear to God, I just heard her call me just a few minutes ago. All right, so the Nightmare is a re-release. I was curious about that because I did see the Nightmare figure before, and it looks pretty nice. I think it's a set now. I think the Nightmare and the Black Batman or the Black Superman are they aren't they a set? You buy the two of them for $500 or something like that. So if you want to catch up, you get right into it right off the bat, right there, literally. If anyone wants to check out the sculpt, here's my link. Cool. Give us the link. I don't see that. I don't know why I didn't post it. I wouldn't hide that link. Maybe spell it out old fashioned style, you know, spaces, DOT, stuff like that. If it's not letting it post, I have no problem with that link being put up there, Matt. Thanks, CBS Sci Fi. Thank you very much. Thanks, Save on Mason. You guys are great. Yeah, I just forget to eat. Just don't, just not hungry. And, for a big guy to say he's not hungry, that's something wrong with that. I forget to drink too. My mouth just gets totally dry. And crying just dries you out too. The liquid's leaving your body. You need to get it back in. So I'm drinking a lot, trying to drink a lot. I just can't seem to drink enough either. So thank you very much, Matt. Thank you. I don't see it, Matt. Type it out the old-fashioned way. Just spell it out with instead of it making an actual link. Just say what it is. You know what I mean? You know how to work around that. I'm sure you do. Yeah, if you've never been here, until you've ever experienced direct loss, you think you can probably try to understand the pain that someone's going through. You may have experienced loss in some degree. You may have lost a good friend or a grandparent that you've been really close to, or something to that effect, a pet that you really love. And of course, you're going to grieve over them and you're going to mourn, and it is a true loss. But to lose an intimate partner, your your wife, your husband, man, that's because the level of closeness that you share, that is there is tough. It's a tough loss. So of the loss that I've experienced in my life, nothing feels like this does, and I don't recommend it for anybody. But it's something we all deal with. You know, when you're that close to somebody and they move on, no matter what. Like I said, this was a soft landing on top of that because I've been preparing for this for the last 18 months. She passed away in August of 2019, and they brought her back to life. So I've already dealt with that straight in my face, unprepared. So I knew it was coming. She's been in declining health, but the moment she's no longer there ever again, never to return. No more clarification on something you didn't quite understand. No more secrets that she didn't share with you. There's no more opportunities. Those are gone. Whatever has been said is all that can ever be said. Unless there happens to be some secret notebook someplace that I stumble across with all these other thoughts and the combination to a safe with $1 billion in it or something, you know. But I don't foresee any of that happening. So it's life and it's tough. And no one yet has figured out how to cheat death. No matter how rich you are or how smart you are, we all have to pay the reaper. Every one of us do. Let's see if this will pop up here, Matt. There you go. So there's Matt's posting of his Red Death. Is that who you said it was, right? Yep, yep. Of course you do. Of course you think of the good times. Of course you do. And as time goes on, that's what you'll remember the most. We've all had, I'm sure we've all had bad things happen to us in the past, and we remember some of the bad things, but we always tend to remember mostly the good things. So of course I'll have the good memories, no doubt about that. And as long as I remember her, she'll still be alive. As long as I'm talking about her, she'll still be alive. I've got the voicemails. I can hear her voice that I've saved on my phone. I have to figure out how to get those over onto a computer in case my phone ever goes crap. They don't keep the old voicemails. So I've got to transfer those over. And she did some YouTube videos. So I've got those she made out of a video game she liked to play. And so I can watch those and hear her voice. That's nice. She was the kindest person. She loved all life. She would weep and mourn over the somebody cutting a tree down. If there was a spider in the house, I had to capture the spider and release the spider outside. Same thing with a fly. She didn't want me killing flies. If a fly got in the house, she wanted it shooshed outside. She loved all form of life. Such a kind person. Smart too. She had two bachelor's degrees, one in computer engineering and one in art history. Uh, she owned a few software companies in her lifetime. She owned an art gallery. Her IQ was on Stanford Binet 145. She spoke five languages. Um, she was just a wonderful person. And she loved me. She had a great smile. Laughed at everything. She would find humor in the most obscure places. So easy to get her to laugh. She really enjoyed to laugh. It was so easy to get her to laugh. She loved food. She's a part Italian. Her dad was born in Brooklyn, but his family came over from Italy. So and her mother was born in England, and so she's 50% Italian, 50% English, and she knew how to cook. Boy, if you've ever had Italian food cooked by an Italian, my goodness. She was born in Brooklyn herself, so I really ate well. She really ate well. She loved to cook. She owned the kitchen. You know what I mean? I really lucked out there. So she will be sorely missed. I don't think I could ever replace her. No one could ever be as wonderful as she was. Really lucked out. All right, guys. So I guess I'm going to cut this short. I'm surprised I was able to get so much content in here at all. I didn't think for 1 second we would run an hour and 45 minutes. I figured it'd be difficult to get an hour out of the show today. So I guess I did a lot of talking about my wife. So thank you guys for sticking with me on that. I hope you enjoy the figure. If you are on the fence, I hope this helped you determine whether to get them or not. I don't get compensated for doing this. It's just me sharing my collection. Sure, YouTube gives me 2 cents per 1,000 advertiser clicks, and I guarantee you that there's not 1,000 of you that are clicking on the advertiser links. So I'm not getting 2 cents on these videos. So I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for my hobby and for you guys. I love you guys, and I like to talk. And I appreciate you guys listening to me ramble on about shit. So I guess I'm going to cut this done. Got a lot of boxes to go through. So you know where to find me every week. I'll be right here. Got some Detolfs to build as well. But I'll be here next week. I have no intention not to be. There's no reason not to be. And I guess that's about it. A couple of things that I've discussed in regards to her remains is what to do with them. Families want to know where she's going to be interned, and I don't have any idea. I'll discuss it with the rest of the family to see whose wishes are such. I might just keep her here at the house. I might take her to the beach. She enjoyed the ocean. Set her free there. There's these companies that use the ashes and turn them into diamonds and stuff. I might do that. I don't know. I have no idea. But that was definitely her wish. Her and I had talked about the stones before, and she didn't have a problem with that as well. A way to keep your loved one with you, more or less, all the time. So that's about that. So I love you guys. Thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for sticking with me on the show. It's really your show. It's all ad lib. There's no script that I'm following. Whatever we talk about is whatever we talk about. And I'm sorry for being a downer today, but it's my life. It's what's going on. And thank you very much for tuning in. And I will see you guys on the next video next week in the next unboxing or whatever the heck it is that we talk about. So peace, man. Love you guys. See ya later.